new P1's better than the old one, but I think X Special's still kind of questionable. I think just as a player, like he's already peaked, so you kind of know what you're getting, and he's still like, I guess, middle of the pack, I would say. So you have to, I guess if that team like needed like a shot caller leader, maybe that's what they found in him, so they just chose him. But I think there's like more options they could look for. I have to wait and see how Mike Young and the rest of the team like start to play together more. So I think it'll be harder than how they were playing the past few weeks, but I think it should still be a good matchup for us, I guess.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Julian Car, and joining me in this match is the only caster with LP to spare, Sam Kobe Hartman-Kensler.
Get some extra for you.
Thank you. I really need it. We're jumping into our second match of the day as FenixOne take on Team Envy. Now, last week, the newly re-energized P1 hype train hit a bump with their loss against Team Liquid.
Yep, that is true. And, you know, despite that little movie that we had right there, X Special and Mike Young have actually been quite good for the lineup. And even though they did hit that bump and weren't able to win the match, they do look much better with these guys in the lineup as far as just how the entire team is performing. However, we're still looking at Ryu as the main underperformer here on the squad, just because he has had, you know, such success previous times in the past. If you compare his spring and summer numbers, he's down in KDA, he's down in damage dealt per minute, he's down in goal difference at 15. Pretty much across the board, we're seeing, you know, more uncharacteristic mistakes from him than usual, and it's just kind of the inconsistency is trending more towards the downside this time around.
Certainly is, and today he'll be matching up against Pyrian, who served a different role in Envy than we saw a bit from Nisqy last week when he joined the team for his first few games.
Yeah, I mean, the champion pool for these two guys is definitely different, as we saw when Nisqy was in for a little bit. The Cassiopeia and Syndra kind of carry champions, the classic ones from the mid lane, whereas Pyrian, they found a lot of success with Pyrian's Talia early on. His Ahri was very successful for the team as well, and we kind of talked to him a little bit about why Pyrian's actually coming back in, and both of them, they are viable, you know, starters for the team, they said. It's just that just in the scrims recently, Pyrian was performing a bit better with the team, and they probably need some more time with Nisqy since he came over very recently. So this is going to be the starter for today.
Yep, have to think so as well, but we are going to check out the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's FenixOne. We're going to keep maybe some momentum moving up. In the top lane, Zig. In the jungle, it's Mike Young. Mid laner, Ryu. Bot Arrow, support X Special, and Coach Fly.
And on the red side, it is Team Envy. Up top is Seraph. In the jungle, Lyra. Mid Pyrian, bottom Apollo, support Hakuho, and Coach Violet on stage with them.
And it's kind of an interesting point in the split, I think, for these two teams. Envy's record looking okay. I believe they're actually 4-4 coming into the weekend, so at a cool 500. P1, obviously, their record has looked significantly worse to start it, but we have seen some more bright spots, and it does feel like the team is kind of growing. So they might actually be entering this spot of the split about halfway through in a pretty similar spot. So it feels like winning here is pretty crucial if you're trying to get up towards the top half, or in P1's case, get out from the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. The teams at the bottom right now, P1 and Team Liquid specifically, have been making all kinds of these roster shifts to move around to try and, you know, climb their way out. But at a certain point, you just gotta choose a squad and stick with it to try and develop that team play. And it looks like this is the one for FenixOne that they want to build on. At least the one they are going to build on for Rift Rivals.
That's true. Do have to, actually a lot on the plate for P1. They go out on Sunday, I believe, so have a really packed schedule. Kind of have to get to the event.
It's going to be rough.
Playing. It certainly is. Well, we'll see what happens in the draft. Talia and Shen, banned by FenixOne, so some globals, and of course, that signature pick from Pyrian taken away. LeBlanc will join the pack there, so a second mid laner banned, and there's Zach, Caitlyn, Galio, our three new favorite red side bans, all taken away. First pick at least for P1, nice and zippy.
Yep, the Elite's going to go through here, and there's no surprise about that first pickup. For Team Envy, though, I'm very curious as to Apollo's preferences on the AD carry, because it has been different. It hasn't been that, you know, Jhin that we've been seeing from so many other people, but this is actually a very unexpected first round. Graves has not shown his face in a very long time after those nerfs, you know, to the magic resistance side, and Xayah as well has dropped significantly down after her previous nerfs. But Team Envy, you know, still value both of these attack damage threats, and they are both fairly short range. So I do like the Braum pickup. Immediate answer here from FenixOne.
Yeah, it's been one of the more popular supports in the last few weeks. So if you like to see Brawl there for P1 NX Special, I did quickly double check. There's only one jungler banned here, so Envy really wanting Graves. I mean, Lyra and his famous Lee Sin are up. At least I guess being taken away. Maybe Lyra just wants something matchup-wise, as there's Renekton taking their physique. Probably the most popular blind pick top laner.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring it back up as far as the matchup for the jungle, though, because the magic resist was the part of Graves that was nerfed most recently, and that's just going to make his head-to-head with Elise more difficult and really put a high importance on dodging that cocoon if he does walk anywhere into anywhere blind. All right, that being said, though, it's the classic combo, the Elise plus Renekton. That's a very strong pushing lane. It doesn't specifically have to be Renekton. He's just right now the most dominant, pushing lane in the top lane. So that's why everyone always says those two names in the same breath. Elise is good at diving anyone if there's a winning lane for your team. So they could get many more of those and have other options so that they're a bit more unpredictable. So far, though, as you said, with the Talia, the main pick there for Pyrion being taken off board, Orianna is pretty much number 2, very standard.
Yeah, and there's the Syndra band to protect it, so it makes sense for Envy as we move into the second phase of bans. Jace banned away. It's one of the most common bans against Seraph specifically. He loves these fighter, bruiser, more aggressive style top laners. I mean, Shen is kind of the one tank that springs to mind when I think of how Seraph likes to play, because he just hates leaving side lanes, just really hates it. There's a Lucian ban for Envy as well, so taking 2 strong mid laners away from Ryu.
Yeah, I like that your immediate instant reaction too is that, oh yeah, that's a mid lane ban, obviously. And it definitely has shown to be the case. Let's see here, last ban from Phoenix One. They could continue to attack mid laners. Or I mean, not attack mid laners, they're gonna be picking up the mid laner. They could continue, never mind, they're already done. Support role is what we were gonna go for, but not gonna be the case.
Could have gone for top lane, but instead they ban away Rakan. I knew where you were going. Hakuo does love that pick, and of course it combos well with Desire. That being said, there are plenty of good aggressive supports to pair in with Zyra. Envy in general strike me as a kind of team that love to play aggressively in their 2v2. It's been one of the more surprising aspects of Apollo's play. And there's Gragas actually for Envy. And by the current lay of the land, that looks like top lane Gragas. So maybe Seraph is finally coming around to the idea of playing tanks.
It definitely could be. This adds that extra little wrinkle because, Seraph, as you're talking about his style and you're pushing in the top lane, technically they could switch Graves up there into the Renekton and try and abuse that. But probably will be the Gragas. This matchup specifically was also a bit nerfed. It used to be a bit more even when Gragas could stack those Doran's rings and not have to worry about mana as much. But it's just a slight change. Didn't hurt him too much.
No, still certainly very popular. As there's Kalista and Corki actually to round it out. So couldn't ban away all the aggressive mid laners. Ryu will be taking Corki into the 1v1 here, leaving Envy with the final pick of the draft.
All right, what's it gonna be? All will be revealed now. Playmaking, haha, still available. No surprise here for the Thresh into Braum. I really like it because you can set up ganks very well also, and there's so much defense in this Envy bottom lane. When we look at the playstyle of this particular team, so often it has been Lyra working with his solo laners, and the bottom lane kind of left to their own devices. Xayah post level 6 has her own escape, and then Thresh always can make it much safer.
Well, certainly like both compositions here. Actually, kind of fun to see Kalista coming back into the meta as well. We've kind of mentioned that a lot of these more melee playmaking supports have made the rounds. Braum kind of the obvious one that stands out. So I think Kalista more naturally fits into a lot of these compositions when there is no Caitlyn to be found. That's probably the one caveat to give, because as soon as Caitlyn's in a game, bottom lane just feels real bad.
Yeah, and actually, Braum doubles as multiple defenses, not just for that lane, but also blocking the Gragas ultimate, the big CC ability that Seraph would bring to those team fights when he does join up. So B1 actually with a pretty solid draft. Yeah,
it feels like they're playing relatively standard. Envy almost always have some flair to their comps. You mentioned Apollo kind of taking Xayah, one of the few players still with Caitlyn Xayah as their preferences. So Envy, again, this is a lot of what we've seen from them before. Aggressive junglers, solid solo lanes, and then a very good 2v2 lane that's pretty self-sufficient. I think Envy have all the tools to get it done, but as always going to be looking at Lyra and see what he can get done. And for me, I actually have pretty big questions about Seraph here, just because he doesn't really play a non-lane dominant top laner that often. So seeing him on Gragas is a pretty big change for me, at least in recent memory.
Yeah, I'm definitely as well going to be looking at the jungle matchup that you talked about, because Lyra is undeniably the biggest star on Team Envy. And Mike Young, the new guy on the block here for Phoenix One, he has the most contested jungler aside from Zach, and the one with a lot of pressure on early playmaking here. See what he can get done with the Elise.
Yep, actually, we'll be watching level 1 right now. Everyone's spread out, so onto the rifts. So no aggression should really happen, but Mike Young got a lot of early help in his initial games in the LCS, and there are some really fast, creative jungle routes you can do in Mike Young. Being that solo queue star seems to know all of them. So, like, I know you like to talk about Kobe. Jungle is all about making good choices. We'll see what early choices Mike Young makes here on Elise.
See if they'll get down that Raptor ward. You can pretty much assume that a Graves will always start the Raptors, but it's always nice to have that confirmation, or even grab one down onto the red buff so that you can see the exact timing he finishes. Doesn't look like Phoenix One are going to even go for it, though, and just assume that he is over there.
Yep,
with the standard Raptor start for both.
Zig actually still hanging out. Special and Arrow protecting the Raptors somewhat here, but again, Envy just going to make some assumptions, perhaps. We'll have to see, though, as Apollo not going to get anywhere close. Ryu actually going to walk up, get on Superior, but does take some damage. Ryu did have his trinket, but couldn't get the ward over.
So if it's a standard Raptor clear from Graves, then after Raptor's red, you kind of can backtrack down to the blue side. But Mike Young here starting a pretty decent leash on just the red. Can go very fast, double buff, level 3 to the top lane with the Renekton, the bully lane, and try and punish Seraph really early on. One of the most effective combos at doing that, but it's not the standard red start here from Lyra.
No, it's not. You can actually walk over to this side of the map. Oh, almost spots him, but a good ward from Envy. He's going to spot Mike Young coming through. That was Lyra that put the trinket down, but no buff contest or steal coming out. Just gets the info and backs away.
Yeah, the ward here in the river from Phoenix One. From Zig, I believe, was the one who used his trinket for that. Allows Mike Young to continue on with the route. That being said, Lyra very well aware the power early game of Renekton and Elise, and he's looking to head that off already, as you can see in the gameplay.
Yes. Might at least not be a surprise if that next gank does come around. So Mike Young might just opt to farm through. Looks like he's on the gromp at this stage. We'll check in with the 2v2. Great hook by Hardcore in onto Arrow. Special trying to defend. Stun almost there. One more arrow needed. There it is. Just a bit of extra damage traded back and forth. Envy still on the correct end of that trade, I think.
Yeah, he was trying to get the Ren there off the minions as well, and does get it. Meanwhile, continue to have Lyra hugging around up on this top side, just in case, even with the ward that he placed in the blue quadrant. You can see the pings down right now. They're actually tracking Mike Young, even though their vision on him was a good 20 seconds ago. This goes into how you want to play the odds, basically.
Yep. And good info there from Envy. Predicting correctly is Mike Young going to invade. Look for maybe something here. No camps to be found. Lyra cleared out the entire side of his red jungle, but there may be a tower dive in the works here.
Yeah, Mike Young in going over towards the Krugs did bypass for now that Tri-Brush ward, but the Renekton push isn't quite under the turret right now, and they're not going to go for it. They do abort the call.
Yep, no need to really help. Surf down 10 CS about currently, although he's about to pick up a few more. Hakuo and Apollo actually taking the Scuttle Crab here, so going to deny that somewhat away from Lyra, but give them information just in case. But we know Mike Young now finally moving back to the right-hand side of the map.
Yeah, there is a tremendous amount of safety here for Team Envy now on this bottom side of the map. They've got both entrances and the river warded up. There is no way that even Elise can gank into the bottom lane, because even if you go over that dragon wall with your repel, they have the Scuttle Crab to boot, and Apollo and Hakuo doing a good job here in the bottom lane. Trying to at least retain vision, if not CS, which they are currently down.
Good chunk there from Pyrion onto Ryu, actually. Ryu taking a little too much damage as Lyra sneaks into this bottom side of the map. Lyra gonna actually take down the ward, so now they know what side of the map is on. Not sure if he meant to auto there, but just gonna take a visit, but looks like there was no gank forthcoming there, so Lyra just gonna move back over. Might look at the Drake here, but I think he's looking for a few more camps to farm, given that his jungle's very empty.
Yeah, definitely a bit early to go for any solo Drakes, but he might be the first to that Raptor brush. Not even going to pass by it. Mike Young going a bit safer here.
I think one of the nice things is, even though, you know, Lyra just kind of been farming through, no real aggression enabled here, they are keeping track of the Elise, which seems to be the better part of this game plan. It's a nice little Ren from Arrow onto Apollo. Get some damage down.
That was quite nice, able to get that harassment as well. And Zig definitely abusing this matchup quite well. Has the cull even, doesn't even have to go with extra harassment tools early on to do it. So he's, not only is he abusing and getting that farm lead, he's got something in the bank for later.
Yes, just again, getting further ahead now, moving down. Going to get some vision in onto the red side of Envy's jungle. Looks like Arrow and Xpecial finally started pushing this lane back over. Arrow actually up about 10 CS, so 2v2 is looking good for them as Lyra onto those Krugs will sweep them out, but can't really enter this top side any further because, again, great vision from P1 as both junglers have spent the first 6 minutes of this game really tracking each other down.
Yeah, and Lyra's happy to just farm it out here on Graves. Definitely skills quite well.
Another good hook onto Xpecial. Good play back by Hakuo as well. Polo had the feathers ready, so the route is set up nicely, but Mike Young sneaking into the top side here.
Yeah. Waiting for Seraph to go aggressive.
He did use the body slam. Courage going to wear off as Mike Young trying to find the angle. Does get the damage down with the Q. Flash Cocoon, but great flash from Seraph. Going to get him out of there.
Definitely a really good reaction here from Seraph, but he didn't get level 6 yet. They needed to clear out the wave, so he doesn't have Gragas ultimate to try and turn that around and get a counter kill there. Now he just thinks level 6, and that's the advantage of pushing up and getting that experience in the wave pushing first.
Yep, Lyra just helps instead, covers the potential 2v2 or turret dive that was started, so first blood still on the table for both these teams. Mid lane though, looks like Puri and Ari have been farming up nice and equally, but the first early buys are complete. Plus chapter up for Purian, and there's the Sheen first Ryu, so going with the most aggressive component of the Trinity Force.
And I think that Phoenix One should be aggressive here early on. Their whole composition is, kind of revolves around controlling neutral objectives and neutral space on the map. So you want to try and get those early aggressive components in, take over some territory, and then you start to mine your lead basically off of the map. Elise, super good at ganking super early on. You get that extra objective control with the Kalista from the bottom lane. So as soon as they hit level 6 down there and you get all that utility out of the Kalista Braum lane, I think that we might see Phoenix One go more proactive here and really start to try and take matters into their own hands as far as controlling those neutral spaces.
Ryu getting aggressive though, in onto Purian, dodges out of the way of the phosphorus one, but Purian is going to stand there. Good shockwave back, but here's Xpecial also to the mid lane.
Yeah, he got pretty low there, and you don't have to get much lower because Lyra does have access to his ultimate, so might have been able to get a summoner heal out of Ryu, but doesn't actually pull the trigger, and then everybody holds onto their cooldowns.
Hakuo looking for a hook. He's going to land onto Xpecial. Root's going to follow. Actually, decent amount. Chunking Xpecial down, but Braum pretty tanky with the shield up. Not going to be giving over first blood as mid lane is low on mana here as well. Ryu, both of them, I think, just trying to pick those waves down and then leave, or in Ryu's case, go over and get the blue buff that Mike Young is preparing for him. So Ryu may opt to stay. We'll see exactly how that goes. But again, lots of strong exchanges on either side, but teams are answering very well. Support rooms up for P1, and Hakuo is not far behind.
Yeah, and a bit of extra vision for Phoenix One, for Team Envy currently on the bottom side as well, both sides of the Dragon Pit, as we saw. That allowed them to get some harassment there onto Xpecial. And they're really trying to get that setup done for when Phoenix One do decide to pull it. Both top laners are clearly holding onto their teleports, so they're ready for that action as well.
Yeah, just a lot of walking back to those lanes actually, as Seraph gonna come back with a Sheen. Looks like Iceborne Gauntlet first for him. Zig not going to build that team out just yet. Looks like Phage into Black Cleaver are going to be the first few items. And again, it's kind of eerie to see a game with an Elise and Lyra in it where first blood hasn't happened just yet, but teams are kind of feeling each other out. P1 happy to, again, play up in their lanes, play aggressive, and open up the game once the mid-section rolls around.
All right, Mike Young, again, Elise, up onto the top side. They do have vision, but remember, he walked over a lot of Envy defensive vision to get here. So Lyra has some inkling of an idea that Mike Young could still be in the area.
Lyra actually going to take a pretty safe way out, pops his control ward down next to his Raptor Pit, but no wards in that particular area for him to move out. Envy again just trying to protect, as Mike Young does take the blast point over, but on a control ward right now. Seraph going to spot him, and Mike Young going to try and stay and clear the ward, but not particularly safe.
Yeah, you got to be a little careful. Seraph, did go for the Sheen early after just the second ring there, so he's got that extra burst damage, and even Elise has to be a little bit worried because Lyra again is very close in tow.
Oh, Lyra's here. Good old back there into Zig. Actually takes a bit of tower aggro. Zig forced to pop Dominus. Lyra looking to chase him down. Mike Young here lands a stun. Going to try and turn it around. Maybe no. Lyra! Collateral damage gives him first blood.
Zig was abusing the matchup so well for so long, but I don't know why he thought he could survive with that amount of health. As we were talking about the Graves ultimate from before, being really good at executing those laners from that low, and Lyra's easily able to pick it up. What about Pyrion?
Pyrion roaming up with the package. He's going to use it to get out of the way as Pyrion blows another shockwave just to keep Ryu away. Pyrion, I think, tried to roam up before, but we'll kind of watch how this gank unfolded. Zig just thought he could turn it around right at the end, but great setup here for Envy.
And they're just waiting for it to happen. This time around, Seraph has his ultimate on Gragas, so they can get the early initiative in the fight. And then he turns around to get the stun onto Seraph, even though Seraph wasn't even low. And it definitely does cost them first blood quite clearly. Now the first turret, though, might be an issue, as there are 4 members of Phoenix 1. They're not even actually going to concentrate any other efforts on it. Lyra can move in, clear out the minions, and really cause Phoenix 1 to disperse.
Yep, Hakuo there as well, so Pyrion gonna get away with only burning the heal. Lyra gonna aggressively push his way back out, and I mean, Lyra doesn't have an ultimate, but Ryu can't really safely stay in this 1v1. He's gonna stay for one more wave, but Lyra buying time for his mid laner. Ryu's going to have to go back to base as well. Good to see him playing more aggressive on the Corki, but a missile missing, I think, was the difference in a potential kill there onto Pyrion. And we actually had a pretty interesting lane swap that kind of happened in the middle of that replay. Even when the top play started, Arrow and Express were already up to that top side, so they're there now. Pyrion's going to go ahead and take the blue buff, and Seraph has trade-up places. He's back down to that bottom lane as Zig's also joined in. So pretty early swap here from P1, it looks like. Maybe trying to get themselves out of the way of that 2v2 matchup.
And both top laners still have their teleports as well. A lot of the vision also all around on this top side. Still going to have Lyra moving his way back through the jungle as well. Just look at the farm difference here. Even though farm numbers don't tell everything for junglers anymore, because it really depends on which camp, Graves is almost always going to farm so much harder than Elise. And the fact that he got the, he might actually run into a wall jump.
Oh, especially going to miss after the ultimate from Kalista. Hook's going to miss from a Hakuo as well, but they're going to re-engage. Box lands in, Special almost getting clear, but Pyrion getting caught up with the fast Ryu. Looking for the 1v1, he does win it. Able to take down the Orianna. Special flash ulti, puts attack a pole, but he featherstorms out, flashes out of the way. Envy getting away, but one man down.
And there it is, Pyrion goes down as Ryu's just able to take advantage of the last few seconds before his flash comes up, I believe, and able to get that kill by himself.
A lot of summoners burnt there on the Envy side to get away from it, so maybe aggression incoming as Pyrion trying again for this 1v1.
Unless it's one of those replay visual bugs, it looks like his flash was up here for Pyrion. He's just walking back and forth, taking autos, trying to dodge the missiles, and gets shot down. So that was yeah, that was just a little bit greed there from Pyrion, or lack of respect, whatever you want to call it. Hakuo.
Base checks, gets stunned up. Gonna try and turn it back around. The TP in from Envy might turn it, but there's the follow from P1. Apollo gets exhausted, stunned up by the Bromers. Everyone's here in the top side. Arrow already gonna take him down, and Seraph far too late here.
Seraph goes back in though, because Lyra's on the way up the river.
Pyrion coming as well. Seraph, no ultimate though, already burnt up by the looks of things.
He did just confirm, yeah. Pyrion had his flash up the entire time. Just felt like dancing. Cost him his life. It's dangerous.
Well, again, Hakuo just face checking here, and this is an easy kill for P1.
Yeah, so much control there. With this duo, they actually used the exhaust as well, and able to line up all of those stuns. Even though Seraph tried to bail him out with the Gragas ultimate, he's already dead, and Explosive Cash goes nowhere.
Yeah, and again, kind of a, I'm going to say an odd little lane swap to prompt all this action, but P1 starting to play a little better with the power they're building up. Ryu is going to be very close to Trinity Force, Blade of the Ruin King, almost not for Arrow, and Black Cleaver is completed for Zig, so collapsing well there to win some of these early exchanges. Envy trying to scale a little bit more and find more of a team fight, so we'll need to complete those items first. Before that happens, it looks like Envy have decided to swap back, actually. Now going to pressure this turret 2v1.
Yeah, both teams are still looking for the early first turret gold bonus here. So pressure being added with a red buff jungler, they should be able to get it with this power play.
Yep. Nice little swap down from Envy again. Going to move themselves down, and that should be first turret over. Last hit from Lyra, and gold shed around.
Graves actually so good at taking those early turrets, and especially red buff extra damage is really underappreciated when you're just trying to work through a couple of extra seconds, because Phoenix One are trying to answer on top, but it's not even close. And that means for both mid laners, if you look at the mini maps, they should be hovering the sides of the map where their teams are pushing whenever you have these splits. These are kind of reminiscent of those lane swap days where we had it from the very beginning, just a bit later in the game. And we also have different neutral objectives that can be traded. So Phoenix One, we'll see if they try and get the Rift Herald in answer to the Drake as soon as they get that global call. We'll know it's been taken down.
Yep, Envy did have a ward in the back, but a control ward in the pit is going to blind them. Special wards over the back of the wall. And now the Rift Herald looking to go over to P1. Envy might be trying to collapse here, but looks like they'll be a little too late. Seraph's in the area, but Ren there for
might take the fight afterwards.
Easy.
No teleport on Zig. This is pretty bad for P1.
Mike Young is going to get it. Seraph tries to body slam, but he repels out of the way. Mike Young trying to bail. Especially looking to block it down. Seraph getting the ulti back, and Mike Young falls. Now Envy looking to chase it on Special, hops over to Arrow.
It's turned into a kind of a buzzword now, but tempo really does cost lives. And it doesn't cost them the blue buff though.
Nope.
Arrow's able to get it, yeah.
Hops over the wall, very cute.
But because they were so far behind, you know, they could not kill the Rift Herald in time before Envy were able to get back. They knew that there was no way it was going to be a 5-on-5. Zig doesn't have teleport, and they're just so far ahead there that Envy are able to pick up an extra kill on the exit here from Phoenix One.
Well, perhaps an overstay in the top side of the map will cost them a turret though, as Zig is able to work down that bottom outer and take it down. Currently 1v1ing onto Seraph, but Seraph not really bothered. Just Iceborne Gauntlet helping out the trades. Ninja Tabai also making that 1v1 easier than you might think, but P1 successfully defend their top outer turret here.
Yeah, I feel like Gragas is always going to be trying to catch up to Renekton though in this matchup, even though this is a good adaptation to the build. Because of the early bullying of Renekton and that early gold, his cleaver is finished, you know, kind of ahead of the curve on the armor that Seraph is trying to stack. So as quick as you stack it, Renekton starts to shred it, and it's definitely very annoying in addition to the slice and dice shredding that goes on in that. So Seraph's really looking to make his presence felt in those team fights and in that utility that he's going to bring with that knockback. As far as being in the right place, he's already a little bit ahead.
Also reflected in his CS lead there for Zig, who's about 25 up. Looks like Blurred of the Ruin King will be his second item as well, so really building for more of that 1v1. And as far as other item completions go, Ryu now does have the Trinity Force with a pickaxe to spare, so does have the package. I think it's going to time up before he can make a play, but
the you know, classic Black Cleaver Blade of the Ruin King Renekton build is just the build for shredding tanks. Your W Renekton stun gets multiple attacks off, so not only do you apply multiple stacks of your armor shred from your Black Cleaver, but the current health as well comes through very quickly. So that is pretty much the build to shred Seraphs. And again, it is going to be Seraph looking for team play.
Stun land on the Hakuo, but Mike Young, the one in trouble. Ultimate's going to knock him back out of the shockwave. Not the combo they were trying to land on. Zig there, flashed on an Imperium, but he pulls out on the lantern to safety. Ryu firing missiles, looking for Lyras. 2 more orders for the Summit Special, getting chunked down, gets pulled up by Arrow. And the ulti from Lyra is going to miss the result. Ryu, 2-man knocker back to his Imperium, flashes out of the way. And P1, it's a little too much strength. There's 2 down. The Defender Storm's not enough. Lyra going to fall on the other end as Arrow grabs the double Apollo. Tagged in by the Winters, but going to take the Lantern out. But P1 with a great little team fight.
Oh, and that is going to give them map control here to take up the mid turret very easily and get a second with that Rift Herald they were able to grab.
And it just feels like Envy, who are in a decent position, are falling apart in the last few minutes. Big gold lead going to be bursting out here for P1. Is there almost 4,000 gold ahead, and the Rift Herald's not done doing some damage. P1 will not stick around for any more, but just going to buy a little bit more time.
Really big fight on the power spikes here for Phoenix One. Corki and Kalista just dominant. All right, take a look at the beginning of it, because as you said, the synergy of 2 big ultimates. Those are the big team fight ultimates for this team. And desynced there for Seraph and Tyrion. That one is just kind of a tilter, but then it looks like they're just so angry after that that they continue the fight here. And that's another whiffed ultimate as Apollo doesn't get anybody with those feathers, and they just get run out. So if you're gonna whiff all your big ultimates, then yeah, Phoenix One's gonna steamroll.
And that's exactly what happened in the team fight. Apollo able to get out with help from Hakuo, but massively built up now for P1 as Arrow gonna add a Hurricane as his second item. He only had the Blade of the Drone King in that last fight, I believe. So very quick second item completion. Ryu on the way to his Infinity Edge, and there's the build order up for Zig towards that Blade. So carries are only getting stronger, and even Mike Young going to be going for that AP Elise style as well with Leandri's near completion.
Yeah, and like we were talking about earlier, they want to keep this pace very quick here and trying to continue to abuse their power in the mid-game. Drake coming up at 45 seconds would be a perfect opportunity for Phoenix One to do that. Team Envy are trying to clear out the wards around it right now and grab that Scuttle Crab. But even with the lasting Scuttle Crab vision, I kind of expect Phoenix One to move the action over to that side of the map to try and set up.
It's been nice to see them be generally very aggressive around objectives. They've got plenty of damage built into this comp with 2 marksmen, including a Callisto. And again, as this champion kind of re-enters the metagame, teams are going to remember exactly how frustrating it can be to deal with, like situations like this. Hakuo tag, but hook back in, and I'm not sure if Special's too worried. Does punch him a few more times. Now he's got to be worried. Knocked back from Seraph and Pyrian, going to take him out.
Yeah, the Cocoon, the Callista Ultimate, and Braum were all used there and not able to find anything. So Hakuo, he merely just walks away with his mobility boots and then gets the re-engage for Team Envy. So it's really been about 2 overextensions into a little bit of a counterplay there. Envy, however, only get 1 kill back for themselves as a reward for that. And still going to be licking their wounds.
No objectives just yet, as Lyra has now finished a rapid fire cannon. I certainly expected him to get aggressive, but he doesn't have Warlords, which I guess makes sense as a jungler, as Storm Raiders instead. Very curious to see Warrior, Hex Drinker, rapid fire cannon. Yeah,
it is. He's bringing Graves back, and he's bringing Graves back with a very interesting flavor, because the rapid fire cannon will extend, the first shot there for your bullets, but such a rare item on Graves. If you see any of the Zeal items, it has always been the Phantom Dancer, because he's so short range and you want to use the damage reduction as well as the extra move speed that it gives you, but now he'll be a little bit less short range for that first attack. And I actually want to see... No, he's never going to do it, but it would be fun to see if he went the double Energizer that all the 80 carries are going, just because it's hilarious. But that being said, this was maybe like 5 patches ago or something where Graves had his crit synergy increased and actually scales very well with crits. It's just that most people want to build the champion as the bruiser to outlast in a lot of team fights and get some defenses in there with your offense. To really be that, or show off the true grit. But not being said here for Lyra.
Nope, he's a carry, and he wants to build like one. So we'll see how the build develops. Apollo also has his second item is a rapid fire cannon to join in, but if you want to finish their big ones, Ryu, always a one to watch here. Cork is the kind of champion that takes a lot of investment to get going, but buying, I think, the 2 most expensive items in the game, or certainly 2 of the trickier ones to get as far as total cost goes, but he's really strong at this point.
Yeah, that is a spike. If we're going to talk about power here, the Infinity Edge Trinity Force feels very, very good. The other thing about Rapid Fire Cannon, since all of Graves are now taking Storm Raider Surge, it does seem like it would be easy for you to pop the Storm Raider Surge at the very beginning, rather than having to really get into the fight to start it out. So that may be another reason and another pro of incorporating this into your build. I would still say be cautious with this in solo queue right now.
Just go take it straight into a game before.
But I'm figuring it out as we're going along. Yeah. They're definitely pros to it.
I like it. Well, we'll see what Phoenix One are up to next, though, is still nursing that gold lead. Did get cut down a bit after Envy got a pick, but things have delayed teams just trying to get back around the vision. No Drake up. The next one will be a Cloud. Envy do have the only 2 Drakes that have spawned so far, but Baron is kind of that next big objective teams are looking for, as Lyra going to go ahead and take the red buff away
Right
from
before the
Apollo.
big one. Pretty close steal attempt there from Ryu. Let's see if they can actually get their fight, the fight that they want to force though. Again, Zig is going to be applying pressure in that 1 versus 1 because he's got his 2-item spike done as well. The Blade plus the Cleaver combo that we were talking about that's so good at shredding the tanks means that Seraph has to, kind of seed pressure to the Renekton in the side lane. And with that extra pressure, Phoenix One are trying to starve out the vision. Once you get that, then your picks start to come through from the Elise and the Kalista combos.
Well, on the other side for MV2, do remember that we're kind of talking up more of their team fight in this game, and they are getting to a point where they can reasonably have a good 5v5.
Definitely true. Envy still have the extra Drakes that they can bank on, have that value for the duration of the game. And the Ocean Drake specifically is definitely helping Seraph out a lot as well. Whoa!
Lyra,
display.
that's not the correct way to go. Ryu going to take him down for his transaction. Pyrian even committed the ulti to try and save him, but he's dead. He's very dead. And with the jungler down, P1 runs straight to Baron.
Well, that was the pick that you're talking about, and they were able to find it pretty easily. The vision has also, as we were saying, previously been laid, so they can transition fairly seamlessly over to this Baron. Right now, Zig is actually trying to get out of vision of Seraph. He's running from Seraph so that he can teleport in case they need him.
Ren damage there. It's going to be taken down. Arrow able to claim the buff for his team. Envy don't even get a single kill. As P1 tank up the Baron. Going to try and shove down mid lane instead, but Ryu's already over, ready to clear that out, and Envy have to back away.
That's that neutral objective focus, as previously mentioned, on display there. So ridiculously hard to take any neutral objectives from a Kalista team, even if you have something like Nunu, which they don't even have at their disposal, nor do they even have a smite. So very clean and seamless pickup of the Baron here for Phoenix One. See how they actually do with their siege, because the one drawback is that they're a little bit short range. I would say that, Ryu's Trinity Force empowered autos are enough to take out like 20% of a turret per Trinity Force proc maybe though, so probably won't be too big of an issue for them. They currently though are split all the way into a 1-3-1.
Yeah, and Zeke actually caught out here, does move through the box, pops Dominus, but Envy here collapsing with 3, especially going to try and turn it back around, but Seraph now going to catch him instead. Pulled out by the Fate's Call, should be safe.
Yep, gonna recall Xpecial into the mid lane here for Arrow. And that being said, it was a decent amount of stuff here that Phoenix One were burning while they were spread out. In that time, you can say Ryu did get the turret, or did get the minions all the way up to that bottom turret, and he should be able to take it with ease. Trinity Force proc, very quick at taking that one down. One outer turret left, basically.
Yep.
Top side.
Trying to kind of reinforce their siege as well. Looks like more rapid fire cannons. Actually, there's Ryu finishing his next one. Looks like Static Shiv will be the next item also with that shard purchased. So again, P1, definitely some short range marksmen, but trying to build something.
Both of them are longer now for one auto.
One auto, which for Corki seems to be enough.
Yep. 4 rapid fires in this game. That is the most rapid fires that I have seen in a competitive game. I'm sure there have been more, but
maybe. Oh, breaking new ground perhaps here in the NALCS as Lyra ulti's out the correct way this time, but still has to burn his ulti defensively, which is not the desired outcome of the Graves ultimate. And P1 in general just starting to really strong arm Envy out of this game. Envy only with 1 turret taken is becoming a real task to try and get P1 out from off their stuff.
Yeah, with the end of the Baron buff plus the package threatening this turret, it's definitely risky for Team Envy. They're clearing it out right now just because they see 2-3 members mid. Luckily for them, the package was about to time out, so Ryu just dumps it over there. But this pressure still is here as Baron yet to time out. About a quarter left with it as well, so a few more of those minion waves are going to have the extra power.
Yeah, Ryu's going to move down towards the bottom side actually as Zig still works on this top wave. Ryu's going to get this pushing in again. P1 committing to this 1-3-1, trying to do maximum damage with the Baron buff. Looks like just Pyrian challenging Ryu at the moment. I don't think he can do too much work. Is that a great shockwave? Good hook there from Hakuo. Plays back X special.
Still got minions there though, so special is fine. No turret shots taken, no harm done.
And Ryu just guiding the Baron up cannon creep for a little while longer. Pyrian trying to wait it out as a flank from Apollo. Gonna scare Ryu away.
Yeah, the Ocean Drake is just working overtime trying to heal Envy back up.
Special on the threat again. Fate's call. No, now out of range. Special does get back in there. Pops out as Arrow pulls the trigger. Looks like again going back for it. Special actually with a great flank. Ultimate takes down Apollo, who did have Featherstorm ready. Seraph now, the next one taking heat is Zig tanking the rest of it. Ult from Pyrian goes wide. Zig Special flashes out of the way. And P1 just a little too far forward. Flash on to Seraph's going to try and clean up yet another kill. Tank almost down there it falls as Ryu is just cleaning up the base.
Yeah, he's inside the base. You're being attacked from behind.
All right, well, P1 going to push in and maybe even going to try and end the game. Ryu got a Nexus turret out of his siege attempt and took out the bottom inhibitor. So the assault not done yet for Phoenix One.
5 members inside the base.
Oh no.
Special actually pretty low. Might be only 4 soon.
Arrow going to burn the heal. There's the stand behind me onto Ryu to get X Special out of there. Envy still chasing but kills Pyrian. Finally shuts one down. Flash QW going to take out X Special, but that was a very odd siege. I feel like P1 just threw themselves at Envy to buy time for Ryu, and to their credit, it was actually quite effective.
Yeah, Ryu did take his toll, and in the end, turret goes down to the minions. But let's take another look at the fight here, because Seraph uses the ultimate pretty early. Not only does he, only get Zig, but Special still in lock there with the Kalista ultimate, then gets a full stun CC combo onto Apollo, and Apollo never gets the ultimate off. Going down really early here, so even though Envy were able to bring all 5 members first, doesn't mean a thing because Apollo goes down so quickly.
Yep, and now Cloudjack over to P1. Bottom inhibitor down also means that Baron spawning in a minute 25 looks almost effortless for Phoenix One to try and obtain. And Ryu is still going strong. He soloed half of Envy's base. He's got 4 items as a core key.
And that's what, a lot of people had eyes on Ryu for some improvements here to see him step up in these games and get ready for international competition. This is definitely a step in the right direction. As definitely showing up here on Corki and utilizing their mid game. It's running straight through as soon as they got their 2 item spikes coming through for Phoenix One. Really good job at pushing ahead. That one big team fight victory led to a fairly big snowball.
Oh, Mike Young with his Zonyas. That's a surprising one. Able to save himself from the potential pick. And that kind of dissipates as Arrow going to throw X Special back into the fray. Looks for Lyra, but now Hako is cut off. He's absolutely going down. Is Ryu able to take that one down now on a killing spree as Zeke cuts off Lyra, who does ulti out, but it's not enough as the stun buffers through and takes him out. It's Mike Young going to grab the execute.
All right, super minions on the way down through bottom lane as well, so not much left here for Team Envy.
Running out of gas in the tank.
5v3. This should be trivial for Phoenix One to take another inhibitor turret.
Oh, good ulti back with the locket. Minimizes that damage. Zig again front lining up. And the turret going to fall down to the double rapid fire marksman. And inhibitor melts before Envy's eyes. P1 going to back away, save themselves, and move out to the Baron. And with every lane starting to push, 2 of them having supers, Envy have almost no chance to contest this. Lyra's still dead.
Yeah.
For 6 more
honestly,
seconds.
They don't even have to recall. Everyone has over 1,000 gold in their pockets right now, but they're going to grab the Baron first because 2 inhibitors down and everyone respawning from Team Envy. That's just how far ahead in this game they are. And now they'll get to go back and spend all that money. Here's how it happened again. This was the pick attempt. Envy had previously gone for the kill on Mike Young, but Zonia's delayed and saved him. And it was pretty easy pickings as they moved in here into the jungle. Again, Kalista plus Braum, so much chase potential. And they're able to lock it down.
Yep. And P1 certainly have the damage as soon as the stun lands to just delete the members of Team Envy. Now with the Baron buff for 3 minutes. Going to move to that top side and start work. Zig actually assumed he teleported to that last play. He did not. he somehow got there from, I'm going to guess, mid lane. So he even has the TP to guide the bound up super minions towards that bottom side of the map and then join the team as they look to assault one of the few remaining turrets.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably at this point almost quicker for him to just walk over there once it gets inside the base too. There's very little Team Envy territory in the Summoner's Rift right now. They're trying to defend one of their only 2 turrets left standing here.
Well, Ryu with the package, gonna just hit Lyra with the rapid fire cannon bullet.
Ooh.
Get himself out of the way, but Lyra gets chunked.
Oh, the static shit, rapid fire Infinity Edge Trinity Force auto onto Lyra. Nearly one-shots him.
I think that's pretty much all of the auto attack enhancements you can get.
That BF sword is
yeah.
going to turn into another one. I would say Mercurial Scimitar it should be, just in case you happen to get locked down.
Well, we've got the pointy end of the item, which I like. Ryu again, just building full damage. And Seraph's trying to make the play, gets Ryu, but not enough there. Seraph pretty tanky. Hakuo gets arrow, but he QSS down now. Zeke gonna start it all off. Special jumps in. Flash ulti goes a 3-man knockover as Mike Young gonna take it Prion to start. Apollo gets absolutely taken down. Huge amount of kills as Mike Young grabs the double, and that's gonna be it. P1 just gonna snowball this game well out of control. They firmly lead the whole way through, and that's a Nexus down. P1 up 1-zip.
Definitely a dominating victory here in game number 1.
That looked very easy for P1, I have to say. I mean, game was relatively close. Teams were fighting back and forth. P1 kind of found a few breaks in the objective trades, got a little lead there, and then you said it, that one team fight in the mid game, and Envy just kind of put hands on head saying, we need to team fight, but we don't have the items yet, and they never got to a point where they felt close enough to try and force a 5v5.
I mean, Phoenix 1 got the early jungler in Elise, the best pushing top laner in Renekton. They had a Kalista Braum lane for utility from the bottom side, and Ryu in a mid lane here. As soon as he got Trinity Force, they were just off to the races.
Yep, and I mean, if it's that simple for P1, you can kind of see why this team is looking a whole lot better, but I'm almost flabbergasted, to be perfectly honest. That was a super clean game for P1. Not a comp you expect to look that good, but I mean, people just died, and then you have 2 marksmen. Just keep shooting people. Kalista Braum going to chase everybody down.
Yeah, I mean, they were definitely focused around, like we said, the neutral game and neutral objectives and trying to get picks within, people rotating through the jungle. And when you find those picks and are able to convert that lead so early on, it was a, good job by snowballing.
Certainly was. Well, I'm having trouble explaining it, so we're going to throw it over to the analysts to see if they can make anything of Phoenix 1's win.
Thank you very much, Pastry. Can we make anything?
Nope,
Phoenix
we're
1's
done
win?
here.
Nothing. All right, back to you guys at the desk. No. Either way, Phoenix 1 comes away with the victory here. Pastry claims it was a very clean game out of them. I think it's safe to say that things are looking up for the team. Now, of course, this is only one game.
Yeah, and also it's easy for things to look up when you're at the bottom of the standings.
That's also a very good point.
Temper it a little bit. I definitely think we have to, because Phoenix won up against Team Envy. Envy did look a little bit out of sorts, running Pyrion in the mid lane as well, which was something where Niski did have a good performance last week.
Right.
It was a little questionable, but I do feel like running Pyrion against his old team, where he had actually beaten them previously, could be good, because he has worked with a lot of these guys in the past and knows a lot of their play style.
Absolutely. It also seems that Envy is solidly moving into the column of teams that is looking towards a multi-man roster, not necessarily a set 5 without any adjustments. So throwing Pyrion in here in game 1, we'll see if he decides to, or they decide to stick him in for game 2. We'll get to that. But within this game, Phoenix 1 did get the advantage on a couple huge team fights and ultimately did close it out in clean fashion. Let's talk about these picks, though, because there was different priority in this series as to what we saw in Series 1 of the evening.
Yeah, they ended up going very early on with the lease pick for Mike Young, which, you're kind of like, okay, the guy plays a whole bunch of other things, but I feel like taking away from Lyra is good. And then Lyra's priority on Graves was the one that made me go, okay, this guy loves playing Nidalee, he can play Lee Sin. And then when you pick Graves, you kind of push yourself towards a composition that's going to need more CC in all of the lanes and very reliable CC. Graves was really good back when Maokai was a thing, so you need those types of abilities for him to actually get ganks off. And with Lyra being such a big part of the team, it's very difficult for them to actually set him up, which puts Envy behind.
So now this just might be my opinion, but I want to get your thoughts on it. To me, I understand Graves is a great carry champion for a jungler that is solid and can get the gold in his pocket. But Lyra, to me, the way he feels most effective in this team is as a playmaker.
Yeah.
And Graves isn't necessarily a playmaker. I can't start the fights as Graves like I can, flash kick or kick flash you in, or even, dive in on Elise with the cocoons and things like that, or the Gragas with a flash, body slam. So to me, that felt like a peculiar pick because their largest playmaker, the guy who they rely on to get them through those early games and build the leads, is on a champion that can't do that.
Yeah, I was watching Twitter, and Dardoch made a tweet about it saying, oh no, Lyra's ganking the side lane creeps. How are they going to answer this?
Oh no!
He's getting all the farm, getting all the CS, but they
Right.
weren't able to do anything with it. So yeah, I completely agree with you there that Lyra on something that's a little bit more playmaky would be better for them. And I definitely think like something like a Nidalee is even better here because you power farm and then you go harass the enemy jungler and you keep Mike Young, who has been performing quite well, kind of tied up.
And that's the thing. He's a very young jungler, very green. We've seen him on picks like the Nidalee and the Elise. Things that are strong in the early game have definitely probably helped him with his confidence levels and ability to make plays. But that's where I would, again, turn back to Lyra and go, all right, cool. If I'm developing a game plan against P1, it would be all about getting Mike Young into an uneasy place.
Yep.
How can we mess with the rookie jungler and get him off kilter? And that would be through Lyra on picks like Lee Sin or Elise himself. Either way, I don't want to tunnel too far on the pick as it wasn't the only factor in the game. Let's look at some gameplay here. Coming in at 19:30 into the game, 3 kills for Phoenix 1, plus 2 turrets with the use of the Rift Herald afterwards. Beautiful fight out of them here in the jungle.
Yeah, started by Mike Young, and then he gets the hook and the shockwave out by blowing his flash as Zig enters the back end. And now they have no shockwave, they have no hook for a bit, and so Ryu gets to go forward and deal a decent amount of damage here. And then as they retreat, the awesome Braum ultimate comes out there, and then they're able to navigate around where the Featherstorm had come out. So Arrow jumps in, they completely follow it up, and that's really what did it for me there, is when Arrow gets in from the side to avoid the potential root, because it looks like a really good Featherstorm from Apollo that would keep that choke point intact, but Arrow avoids it by flashing and jumping over wall.
I mean, back on the discussion of picks, the Brahms, the Tom Kenches, Oryx Special, these feel like the kinds of champions that teams need to start targeting so that he can't play them, because when you build around Arrow, Phoenix 1 has been very, very vocal about the fact that they are building their team around him. As an organization, they're building around the MVP ADC, and they want him to be, successful. Well, don't let them take Braum then. Don't let them take Braum Callista, where he has the ultimate amount of safety, or the Tom Kenches. And so I'd like to see maybe even a little bit more focus towards Xpecial, making him, stretch his legs here in the support champion pools.
It's an interesting concept as well. I was talking with Riv about it, and he's actually calling Xpecial the Tom Braum mom.
Yeah.
He's always keeping him protected. He's played 3 champions so far this split. Tom Kench, Braum, and Thresh, all of which can save the AD carry, and their job is to save the AD carry and soak damage, and also make some plays. But I definitely feel like the big emphasis is making sure that he is safe. So if you keep Arrow alive, then, Phoenix 1 can play to that win condition. Here, he gets to play Braum with double AD carry.
Yep.
This was classic. It's a throwback to when double AD carry became a big thing a year ago, where Braum would just be the person who stacks up the passive, and then they all are able to just shoot and get those stuns constantly.
Both ADCs finding tremendous success in this game. Arrow will receive player of the game. Ryu, honorable mention, as he was the highest damage dealt, but Arrow's kill participation as well as deathless game, phenomenal to see out of him. Moving towards game 2, we'll have to see if Envy can strike back to even up the score when we come back with game 2 versus Phoenix 1. Stay with us. You're watching the North American LCS.
Lyra's looking to chase him down. Mike Young here. Lancer Stunley going to try and turn it around. Maybe no. Lyra! Collateral damage gives him first blood. Apollo gets exhausted, stunned up by the Brahmas. Everyone's here in the top side. Arrow already going to take him down, and Seraph far too late here.
Come on, guys. Guys.
Help him, help him, help him!
Coming. Yeah, going. Fighting. Oh, nice.
I'm not pursuing going.
This guy's mate.
Braum, no flash. Kill Braum. Nice.
Whoa, Lyra! That's not the correct way to go. Ryu going to take him down. Flash ulti goes to 3-man knockover as Mike Young going to take it pre into stun. Apollo gets absolutely taken